Oh, good morning. I was just about to enjoy a healthy breakfast of what I like to call grandparent salad. This is what we used to have at my grandparents' house growing up sometimes. They would use iceberg lettuce. I've got some arugula that had to get used up. There's some canned pineapple. Pear is also acceptable. There's a little mayonnaise on there to dress the salad. Mayonnaise. And little cottage cheese with a cherry on top. 4% milk fat, small curd on that cottage cheese, goddammit. Anyway, so it's a nice little mid-century tropical treat. And, oh, it's one of my favorite things to have for breakfast. Hi, Eker. Good morning. Look at this cute cat. So, plants are looking lovely. It's kind of sunny out there. Let's have a look-see. What the fuck is this shit? God damn it. Gives me an idea, though. Hello, and welcome to Trader Austin's. Yes, that's right. I've converted my little organ area into a tiki bar because I really don't want to go outside beyond quarantine. It was snowing this morning. What the fuck? So, thought I'd take a little vacation of the mind. Now, we'll get to tonight's drink in a minute. Let's turn the organ on here. Get it going. Okay, so let's start with a little history. We've got a fellow named Vic Bergeron in Emeryville, California. He takes out a loan to start a bar across the street from his parents' grocery store. That $500 loan becomes Hinky Dinks, which grows in popularity as its Polynesian decor grows along with it. Flash forward to the 40s, and it is now known as Trader Vic's, which I'm sure you heard of, and it is named for Vic Bergeron's nickname that he had acquired, Trader Vic. He is mixing up a rum drink behind the bar and just so happens to have some friends from Tahiti in, and they are the first to sample the drink. And he asks them, "What do you think?" And they respond, I'm going to butcher this, but I don't care, Mai Tai roa ai, which means the best of the best, or very good, fucking great, that sort of thing. So, hence is born the Mai Tai, and that is tonight's cocktail that we're going to be having. Well, here, I'll show you the recipe for starters. But I'm going to tell you a little bit more about other tiki history and culture, if you will. You know, tiki culture is sort of cultural appropriation, and that's somewhat problematic, but I personally enjoy exotica records, which are pretty much, it's the description of the music that you might hear if you visited a tiki bar and what they'd have on the jukebox or whatever. There's some of my tiki records, rather exotica records, and yeah, so tiki is, you know, it's a vacation without leaving the country to locales exotic and unfamiliar, but it's also, you know, a product of fantasy and marketing and that sort of thing. It's, you know, Disneyland Hawaii, if you will. I've got my little sprig of pawpaws up here that are leafing out. Oops, I knocked one off. But there's a hint of the tropics in the Midwest, and I'm forcing the leaves to come out. The pruned sprigs will unfortunately die and not set root, but they're fun to look at, and it's better than just burning some twigs. So, yes, some more history. So, let's talk about Martin Denny, who is the guy that basically coined the term exotica. And he was born in 1911 in New York City and then moves to LA as a youngster, and he grows up there and then studies piano for several years at various institutes and whatnot, and then he tours with the Don Dean Orchestra in the 1930s, and they do an extensive tour of Latin America. And there is where he starts to become fascinated with Latin rhythms and also begins his collection of various ethnic instruments, which he starts to incorporate into his live music. Flash forward still, past the 40s into the 50s, he is invited by Don the Beachcomber, coincidentally the other person who claims to have invented the Mai Tai, but we'll go with Trader Vic's recipe. So Don the Beachcomber owns the Shell Bar in Hawaii, and he invites Martin Denny out for a 2-week engagement, which becomes a multi-year engagement. In 1955, he forms a combo with Arthur Lyman and some other musicians, and they begin playing regularly at the Shell Bar. So his collection of instruments from around the world grows with friends that work for the airlines bringing him various instruments. And so as they continue playing at the Shell Bar, and it's mostly just, you know, covers of popular tunes, that sort of thing, it's at an exotic setting. There's a pool and palm trees and whatnot, and there's frogs around that begin chirping along to the tunes that they're playing. And he doesn't think anything of it at first, but then the frogs quiet down when the music stops, and they come back up when the music continues. And the band sort of gets a kick out of it, and as it's sort of a joke, they start making various animal calls, bird calls, that sort of thing, to go along with the tunes. So the next day, he gets more people saying, hey, are you going to play that one with the frogs again? You know, so he takes Les Baxter's Quiet Village, a hit from, well, I don't know about a hit, but it was a tune from earlier in the 50s, and then records it, or performs it, with the band and a little more serious orchestration of the frog song and the band's various calls. So that becomes Martin Denny's Quiet Village, which I don't have up here, but it's a very popular record, and one that you can find very easily. It sold 1 million copies, and that is the story of Exotica, essentially. So what we're going to do is we're going to attempt to make a Mai Tai and also play an Exotica tune to illustrate it. So I've got the band set up, and I think we're going to get to it. So, oops, well, we'll get the shaker going first, get a little rhythm going. Got to get it from the freezer. Got a rhythm going. So we got a little ice to put in our shaker. So we got, for this, oh, let's show off the recipe. We got a rum base here. I'm gonna make a double, so we're going 4 ounces. Got to get a little bit of exotic orange flavor with curacao, I don't know, we're going to use triple sec, that's how I pronounce it. So we got to get a little exotic percussion going. So that's a ½ ounce. We're gonna go a full ounce for the ladies. Can you see that, the ladies? Now we got to get our frogs in there, of course. They're wondering where's the orgy at. Okay, it's actually pronounced orjat, I think, but I don't have any anyway, so at my house, that's where it's the orgy at. So, I don't know, maybe in a couple of years or so when everybody's healthy and horny, we'll have it over here. Just kidding, unless. My apologies to my wife. Okay, so, there's where the orgy's at. So, what I've gotten here, some amaretto, some rose water, some maple syrup, and some pineapple syrup. That'll get the frogs going. So, that's about 2 ounces. Oh, it only calls for a ½ ounce, so I guess I'm only going to use half of this. Sure. Oh, it's a little settled in there. I'm not going to use all of it, but just a little more. Okay. So we got to get a half lime juiced. Got to get the lime man. The Arthur lime man. So let's get the full band going here. Cut it lengthwise like Duke told you to. Just juice the whole damn thing in there. Hold on to him. We're going to need him yet. So we get our shaker going. So I need to get a glass from the freezer with crushed ice. Get the helper monkey going. Helper monkey! Could you get the ice? He's not very cooperative. Helper monkey, could you get the ice? Could you get the ice in the glass? It's in a rocks glass in the freezer, helper monkey. Oh, stop that chattering. Oh, he's just annoyed at me. It's hard to find good help these days, so I'll just go get the thing myself. So we got our glass with crushed ice, rocks glass, straight from the freezer. Gotta get our strainer ready. All right, quiet down, boys. All right, strainer's ready. Gotta get our frog out. It's supposed to hang out on the side of the glass. Yeah. Sorry, it's gonna hurt a little bit. Oh, sorry, buddy. Sorry, buddy. Oh, he's still good. He's still good. Gotta get our little umbrella in there. Now we've got a couple little options left. We could have a floated dark rum, but I don't have any dark rum and I'm not going to float it on top. And we'd garnish with a mint leaf. I don't have that either. But what I do have to float on top, since this is my house, my rules, and my drink, a little bit of tincture to float on top. Let's see if we can have a look at that. Open her up. Alright. I have to do it over here. Just trust me that it'll look magical when I do it. If you can't see it, it might as well sound magical. Easy does it. Alright, I'm no fucking Martin Denny or Arthur Lyman or Les Baxter, but I get to drink something, and that's good enough for me. Cheers. Not too shabby.